Hello, I'm trying to contact the only source I know, the public internet. Our public access TV channel. Access the channel number 355. For one of the most obscure British shows I have stumbled across was The Adventures of Mr. Briggs, an old British public access cartoon that barely made it to British television stations and only having one episode, to which the pilot was named Mr. Briggs' Grand Day. Now, it isn't as popular as something like Dora the Explorer or even Blue's Clues. If I could convince people I'm not crazy, maybe I wouldn't be alone. October 20th, 2013, I received a care package after most of my things were burnt in a house fire, so I was helped by a group of neighbors in my area. I received necessary things like food, water, air freshener, and even a laptop and some CDs that were all music, until I found something in the bottom. It was a white slip disc for what looked like a DVD VR disc, since when I pulled it out, the bottom of it had a burnt ring around the disc. Yep, a burnt DVD of a spooky lost episode. How convenient. I guess I would have put this in the laptop for some spooky stuff that happens. I said to myself as I inserted the DVD into the laptop. It contained two files, a TXAT file named Details, and a 06121998.mp4, which was June 12, 1998, which was the original supposed planned pilot for the obscure cartoon. I read the text file first, and before I started, and I'll show you the text on screen. Created by Phil Wright and Chris Stein, The Adventures of Mr. Briggs, a dark comedy kids show involving some mildly dark moments, but in teaching kids some lessons including death, police, weather, love, health, and abuse. It'll contain 10 episodes in each of the 4 seasons, before ending with the episode. We all hope this can not only give kids something to learn but we can give it to the adults something to enjoy as well. Copyright Nick Jr., 1998. Interesting. I spoke timidly, before double-clicking on the video file. Here we go. The pilot then started straight with the intro, with a keyboard synth and a male voice singing. It's Mr. Briggs! Hello! Welcome to my show! How do you do? Take a seat, have a cup of tea, and enjoy the show. Simple and pretty catchy tune. Then the episode started with Mr. Briggs' Grand Day, a narrator heard saying, "Welcome to the suburbs of Whistleton, where our lovely Mr. Briggs is sleeping. Can you all wake him up?" There was a bit of pause before a group of kids shouted, "Wake up!" Mr. Briggs stumbled out of bed and looked at the screen. "Oh, how do you do, kids? Welcome to the show," he greeted, grabbing at his top hat and tipping it to the camera. Seems normal. I continued watching with a warm smile. The plot seemed simple. Mr. Briggs had a list of things to do, simple enough, until it showed a dark comedy, and it showed Mr. Briggs walking through the city with streets as the line of gruesome bad luck spread throughout each, which I was able to document. 2 men were carrying a piano from a moving truck when one of them lets go of the piano, causing it to veer and then push the one, causing the first guy to slide down the stairs, with the piano squishing the guy in a cartoony squish. A woman who is cooking a pie leaves the pie in the oven too long, causing the house to catch on fire, with the woman screaming on the top of her lungs. And finally, a pet store worker attempting to feed a bird, who ends up biting his finger. It was causing a cartoony chomp sound, and what was worse for a Nick Jr. show, blood was shown on 2 of the accidents. Mr. Briggs was arrived at the doctor's office after walking into the scene was done. What I saw might have been worse than the walking scene. It showed a pan shot of people who had been through worse, some with bloody fingers, legs, and one even had his eyes slashed. One woman had a huge splinter in her mouth. Mr. Briggs goes up to one of the points and goes one of his missing legs. He spoke, which was forceful, a bit gruff. "Ah, poor Mr. Theodore. You should have taken no of those dangerous animals." He let out a hearty laugh. The screen then went to black. At first I thought my computer went to sleep, but when I hovered my mouse over the screen, it seemed like it was over. So, what happened next? After what felt like 2 hours of black screen, it cuts to Mr. Briggs, who comes out of the hospital, wiping his cloth. Never knew the hotels supplied perfect cuts. And when he said this, he pulled out a sausage and took a bite out of it before laughing. The episode then faded out, showing the credits. To this day, I never got anyone to help look it up. Images, screenshots, YouTube videos, anything. I've had these nightmares and visions of Mr. Garrett killing and eating the humans in a display of cannibalism. But I've kept telling to myself that it was a dark humor joke. But when does that joke go too far? If I can get some closure on this, I'll post an update of what happened. Until then, be careful what you find. Well, my pretties, that was The Adventures of Mr. Briggs Lost Episode. A Adventures of Mr. Briggs Lost Episode creepypasta written by DIZZYGAMER. Now, DIZZYGAMER, I want to say thank you so much for writing this story. It's been a long time since I've read a story from you, and I'm really glad that you've written this story again. This was actually quite an interesting concept. So, the story was pretty good. I mean, I'm not going to really lie. It's an interesting creepypasta, although I will say right now that it does have some, well, messed up stuff that was in it, like involving, some gore and death. And I mean, I'm going to be honest, I mean, a lot of creepypastas do this nowadays, but what's really something is that I really do like that this episode doesn't usually end with someone, destroying the tape or disc or whatever. It doesn't involve that. I mean, I'm really glad because most creepypastas involve that, and that's really unfortunate. But I could definitely be honest and say that this one was actually a pretty good story. So, I'm just going to say right now that DIZZYGAMER wanted me to state some things in this review. Like, there's 3 parts to it that he wants me to state. Now, one is, it's his very first multi-language Lost Episode cartoon. And the second one is, this is made with the intention of everyone making screenshots or videos if they want to. And it may have 3 parts to it, which is hard to say. But with that being out of the way and said, I honestly still love this story. I still thought it was a pretty good creepypasta. It's a really interesting story. It's definitely got a good concept. It's brilliant and well made, although I do have to say some of the cliches in the story didn't really make a lot of sense, but I still really thought this was enjoyable. Anyways, with that being said and that being the case, I personally do find it readable. I mean, the grammar was good, as well as the sentence structuring, the storyline. It's a pretty good story. So anyways, with that being said and that being the case, I personally enjoyed this story. I thought it was a pretty good one. So, with that being said and that being the case, I'm going to sit here and just say right now that I don't really have anything, big of an issue that I have to say. Because, yeah. But with that being said and that being the case, yeah, it's a pretty good story. I mean, despite the cliches in that, I still thought it was a pretty good story. So, anyways, with that being the case and with that being said, yeah, I can definitely say right now that this is still a pretty good story. So, with that being said and that being the case, I personally like this story. I know I said it before, but I'll say it again. I personally love this story. So, with that being said and that being the case, I do find this one to be a good story to read. And yeah, this story is on the Spin Pasta Wiki. I'll leave a link in the description down below for any of you guys who are interested in taking a look at this story. And as always, I'm going to sit here and say this right now, that this is just simply my own personal opinion, and if you happen to disagree with me, that's fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions in regards to these creepypastas. This is personally my own personal thoughts. I give this one a 10 out of 10. Despite the grammatical errors, I did spot a few of them, and despite the cliches in this story, I still thought this one was pretty good. So, I guess with that being the case, and with that being said, yeah. With that being the case, and that being said, what did you guys personally think of this story? Did you enjoy it? Did you not? Also, what you have done personally to help make this story a lot better? Feel free to leave me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. I'm the Lion Queen. I want to thank you so much for watching today's video. If you're new to my channel, feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. Ring the bell for notifications when I upload, so that way you guys will not miss an upload. And as always, please roll the outro because I'm out.